Obviously, not the result that we wanted, but I thought we were pretty good on all three phases of the football. We were very good on offense. We improved on defense, and our special teams was hanging in there. We were very solid at running the football as well as passing the ball. Our pass rush, it was very good. We got to the quarterback a few times. Our secondary, they held up pretty well. Our special teams as well, our punt return, our kick returns, they were returning it back to the 40-yard line. That's what I'd like to see from my players. Riley Dixon was playing very good. He pinned them down inside the 20-yard line. And Graham Gano was kicking some very good field goals. So overall, not the result that we wanted, but there was some signs of improvement. We were fundamentally disciplined, and I thought we did a good job overall. I'll stop take any questions. Jimmy from New York Times. Hey Joe, I saw Saquon Barkley tear his ACL today. Did you get any update on how he's doing? Well, I had a very heartwarming conversation with him just a few minutes ago. He said he's feeling terrible right now and says he won't be doing any physical activity for the next 5 months. But I expect him to be back within the latest 1 week. So I expect to see him by that time. And if he's not, then he might have to face the consequences. Choco McCock from NBC. Hey, Joe. I wanted to ask, when Mike Glennon took a knee in field goal range to let the clock wind down, who was behind that decision and why? Coach Kitchens was behind this decision even though he was in the medical tent for a heart condition. Gano didn't want to kick the field goal because his hand was injured, and I agreed with him. He shouldn't have been out there kicking the field goal anyway, so he thought taking a knee was a good decision here. Hugh Janus from CBS. Hey, Joe. The New York Giants committed only 3 penalties, a season low. Are you proud of the way this team has improved in terms of fundamentals? I am not pleased with the way our team handled discipline. Way too many penalties, way too many offside calls, way too many false start penalties, way too many holding penalties. 3 penalties should not even happen in an NFL game, especially in our system, okay? We don't want any penalties whatsoever at all in any of these games. I train these players to be mentally disciplined so we can end up winning games. Jeremy from ABC. Hey, Joe. On that Mike Glennon 4th down quarterback sneak that got the Giants the new set of downs, what convinced you to go for a quarterback sneak after failing a few weeks ago? And how did you make it succeed? I gotta check the tape to see what happened there. All I can recall was Mike Glennon reaching over. He reached enough to get over that yellow marker. Washington's defensive line is one of the best defensive lines in the league, so you gotta respect Mike Glennon's athleticism for going out there, expressing his toughness, reaching out for that first down marker to give us a new set of downs, and keep that defense off the field. Mike Oxlong from SNY. Hey, Joe, I have 2 questions for you. Number 1, how do you think this season went? And number 2, what will you take from this season? Hey, Mike. We went 4-13, so obviously it was a pretty bad season for us. But I thought our offense improved. Our offense wasn't clicking last year as much as this year. Our defense stayed the same. Our defense was the key to our success in 2020. Also the key to our success in 2021 as well. But the special teams, they have just impressed me. Riley Dixon was pinning players inside the 20-yard line and setting up bad field position for opponents. Graham Gano was drilling field goals better than ever. He had a better season than the 2020 season. So what I can take from this is there's a lot of players that want to come play for me next year. I have a few coaches who want to work with me over the offseason to improve this team a lot more. Pat McAfee from the Pat McAfee Show. I was very astounded by James Bradbury's performance. He had 13 tackles, 7 pass breakups, and 4 interceptions. It was awesome, dude. I was very concerned for one thing. Why did you throw the challenge flag when James Bradbury had an interception and it was going the Giants' way? I'm very curious to hear about this. I would have to take a look at the tape and see what happened there. I initially thought the ref ruled it as an incomplete pass, so I threw the challenge flag. The ruling on the field stood as the call it was. Then the next play, Mike Glennon handed off to Saquon Barkley. We got a couple of yards. Then I called a timeout because we didn't have 60 seconds on the play clock. We had only 40 seconds, so we need those extra 20 seconds, you know what I'm saying? Grab a parodies from Sports Illustrated. Hey, Joe. Andrew Thomas played an outstanding game. Only one pressure allowed and 0 sacks, but the rest of the offensive line allowed 10 sacks to Jonathan Allen, Deron Payne, Matt Ioannidis, and the entire defensive line. Nate Solder was absolutely getting beat out there today. He gave up 7 sacks. What do you think is going to be the plan next season for Nate Solder? Well, I would have to take a look at the tape and see what was going on with the offensive line there. I thought they've improved over the season, you know. They weren't getting to the quarterback as much. They were opening up holes for Barkley and Booker. Overall, I was very impressed with the progress they were making over the season. In terms of Nate, I think we're going to keep him for next year. He has showed signs of improvement. You know, he's getting older as the days go by, but he has shown why he can be a starting caliber offensive tackle. So we were looking forward to seeing him in the future. Chris Collinsworth from Pro Football Focus. Nice talking to you again, Joe. I couldn't help but notice, but Kenny Golladay was losing his mind on the sideline because of the lack of movement of the Giants' offense today. Granted that Mike Glennon only threw for 24 yards on 30 pass attempts. I noticed he threw his helmet at the stands. It gave a fan a concussion. He took off his jersey. He took off his uniform, and he ran on the field butt naked. Now, here's a guy who gets paid $72 million over 4 years, and he's acting like this. What can you take from this, and how do you get him to calm down? Well, I had a chat with Kenny Golladay a few minutes ago, and he said he's doing fine, but it didn't seem like he was doing fine by the body language, you know. I think he misses Jason Garrett a lot. Freddie Kitchens, he's a very good offensive coordinator, but Jason Garrett is when our offense just took off. He was having great games this season, and I can't wait to have him back next season. Deion Sanders from NFL Network. Hey, Coach Judge, how you doing, baby? I couldn't help but notice on Twitter some former players, Scott Simonson and Shane Smith to name, they were both taking shots at Dave Gettleman for being a bad person as well as a bad general manager. What comments do you have to make regarding those comments towards Dave Gettleman? Well, it's nice to have you here, Coach Prime. Obviously, these are some very disrespectful and uncalled for comments by Scott and Shane. I didn't coach them in 2020. I think Scott wasn't on the team after 2019. Shane wasn't on the team after 2018. I didn't get to coach both. But Dave Gettleman has been an outstanding general manager. He's provided me with some astonishing players. They've shown some progress over the past few years. And ultimately, he's changed the team's culture. I'm going to take one last question. Christian Pulisic from Sky Sports. Hey, Joe. The Washington football team absolutely dominated the New York Giants, dude. The game wasn't even close. Was the score 38-0? What are you thinking for the offseason? What are your plans for the offseason, my guy? Well, I would have to look at the tape and see what we can improve off of this result. During the offseason, we can use this game as motivation for next season. We're going to be coming for the NFL next year. There's going to be teams that will be afraid of us, and we're going to be a team to beat next year.